Good morning. Today I am going to be making Paris, Louise, and Madeleine from Gilmore Girls, actually from Chilton. So I have been kind of on the hunt for a Paris and a Doyle, or just a Madeleine and Louise. And I actually found a seller on Mercari who was willing to print from her 3D printer schoolgirls to help me come up with this. But as we were trying to figure out, do these schoolgirls look too womanly? I came across this little adorable 3 girls sitting on a bench at Walmart. It says girls on fence actually. So I guess it's not a bench. It's like a little wooden log fence. And immediately, as soon as I saw them, I saw that they were kind of in uniform. They're all wearing like these kind of coats, and I thought I could totally cut that off and put a little plaid Chilton skirt and make the navy jacket blazer be on top. Part of the uniform is actually a little bow, so I can maybe even modify that to look more like the Chilton bow. And then I had a couple other ideas that I'll show you at the end once we get this done. Now, the problem is I know I cannot paint plaid. I learned that painting Taylor Dosey's old-fashioned soda shop coat. I was trying to do pinstripes. It is too hard. These guys are too tiny. So I thought, and I'm like, I have to have this plaid skirt. What do I do? So this is what I came up with. I've been printing a lot of things in my Stars Hollow DIY. I found a bunch of different plaid skirts. I felt one fall on the floor, cut them out and kind of placed them against the little girls here. Let me get this one that fell down. And I just kind of imagined, is that a good size? Does it need to be a little bit smaller? The problem is when you start to print stuff too tiny, it becomes blurry. So I also had different style plaid skirts, and the one I ended up deciding on was actually an Amazon Rory Gilmore Chilton costume. So that's the one I decided. That's the size I decided would be good. And then that was the original one. I tried to copy and paste a whole bunch in about the same size. I did make a couple bigger in case for some of these bigger sections I needed a wider print. So the way that I'm gonna attempt to do this is put some Mod Podge. I think I call it hodgepodge. I think that's a real word though, hodgepodge. Like this is a disaster, a mess, a hodgepodge. So anyway, I'm gonna put some Mod Podge on my girls' skirts, and then I'll have already pre-cut some of these skirts on the paper and just kind of wrap it over it and hope that that will work. Then I will hand paint the jackets, and I might even give Paris some hair extensions because she tends to have longer hair in the series. And for Madeleine, I am contemplating painting her coat the more gray sweater that she typically, I feel like, wears. So we'll see how that goes. They are all wearing those little petticoats, so I'll probably just end up painting them all blue. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Here, I'll show it to you up close. So this is the before. Paris, Louise, and Madeleine. It already kind of came with one brunette, and I feel like if I give Paris some hair extensions, it'll look more like her. And then when I put the little bonus features down here, everybody will know exactly who these 3 girls are. All right, so let's get started with the Mod Podge. First, I want to cut out these skirts in advance. That's the cider. It's a big wide skirt she's wearing. Wow, not bad. It's just like I said, kind of a big skirt, so we're gonna have to do a good job.
Coming out so good. Okay, so we got our first coat of gray for Madeleine. And I think, what color hat should these girls be wearing? I think navy blue. I don't know, should I make it be gold buttons or black? All right, so I gotta get some green paint to fix some of the areas of that tree. What other paint did I wanna get? White, I have white. I think, yeah, I should try to do that inner part of their shirt, a pale, pale blue. Do we think we should change the red bow ties to be black like the uniform? Because remember when Rory dressed up in her Chilton uniform and was pretending to be British for Logan's goodbye party, she wore a red bow. So maybe that could be a little throwback to that. But none of these girls are Rory. So I don't know. So I'm gonna have Louise wearing all blue pantyhose. So there we have it, there's saddle shoes. Look at her little legs, their knee-high socks. So she definitely needs blonder hair. I think we are really close to being done. I just want to do one more coat of green on the tree and maybe even one more coat of red boots. Oh, I need another coat of gray on Louise's sweater. Maybe one more coat of light blue.
All right, so these girls are ready to dry. I love them so much. They came out perfect. Now, as they are drying, I have my bonus little content. I photoshopped rather, the Franklin. And this is a very special edition. This is the friendship edition between Rory and Paris. It's called Chilton Student Friendship, From Enemies to Friends, How It All Began. She was there for me, but at first I thought she was going to ruin my life. So we have, this is the full-size image. Obviously it's too big for the village. I just wanted to show you. This was a blank template, and this is actually written in another language, which is fine because I didn't want to write up the whole piece. But it had some of my favorite scenes. It had them, I guess, as friends in Chilton. And then now we have the whole gang, Madeleine, Louise, and Paris. We have that disaster morning when Rory broke Paris's project. We have her playing Romeo and Juliet, one of my other favorite scenes. And then we have when she cried during her, not valedictorian. They were both like honorary speakers, and she admitted to everybody that the reason she didn't get into Harvard was because she was not pure. So I took my favorite scenes, put it in a newspaper, and then I shrunk it down. Let me show you. Well, this was the black and white version I printed on accident. I printed 3 different sizes, and they are pretty much eligible. You cannot read it at all. The tiniest version, I folded it in half and then in half again, was the right size for the dollhouse. So I cut one example, folded it in half where the title and the name, the Franklin's, on the cover, and then I bent it in half again. And by doing it this way, it actually cuts off the, school days versus in the future, a year in the life. So that was pretty perfect, that size. And I figured I would tuck these down next to them on the floor, and then make a whole stack of newspapers as if they're going to Stars Hollow to hand out their copies of the Franklin. Now, obviously, if they're in their school uniforms, this is like maybe back in the day when they were still at school. So how could they have a Franklin edition of the future of how they became friends? And obviously, this wasn't even an episode, but in my imagination, I thought, they all dressed up in their old uniforms and came back the way Rory dressed up in her uniform for Logan's going away party, or maybe they just somehow mystically predicted what the future would hold and wrote a copy of what they thought would happen, and they just so happened to get it right. So I thought that would be super cute. So we have one tucked down under their feet, and I'm going to cut 3 more copies and then stack them together like a bundle of newspapers to be handed out. All right, let's go put it in our village and see how it looks. All right, we have some girls from Chilton visiting Stars Hollow. And here they are hanging out on the fence. I opted not to add hair extensions to Paris, but she's got a few copies of the Franklin all around them. I'm gonna try to get up close. We have done, in my opinion, an amazing job on their little plaid skirts. We got some light blue collared blouses underneath their black ties. Their signature navy coats. They all 3 have a different colored Chilton hat on. We attempted to do little saddle shoes. We gave Madeleine her school badge on her sweater, as well as let her wear red boots. And then it might mess up the newspapers, but I'm gonna try to spin them around. to show you how nicely those plaid skirts just totally worked out, wrapped around their bums, sitting on the bench. You can see the back of their shoes. Oh, and we forgot to mention how adorable, because we couldn't really see, we have like blue little tights, and then we have some blue knee highs. So cute, right? We also painted that little muff white and repainted the tree green because there was a bunch of red all over it. And that's about it. I hope you guys love them as much as I do. I hope that you pick these up at Walmart and add them to your own Stars Hollow village. Print some copies of the Franklin and enjoy them in your little Stars Hollow town. We can't buy Stars Hollow Christmas Village yet, but we can make it ourselves. I'm trying to, there we go, that's cute. Well, maybe not covering her boot. There we go, perfect. Aren't they adorable? Hanging out in front of Luke's Diner. Maybe they'll get some soda, ice cream sodas. Maybe Dean will come over and chat with them. All right. Thanks for watching.